We are BACH, everybody. It's your boy Ross over here with my co-host Harry. Harry, how we doing?
Oh, we're good. We're good. Look at you switching it up, counting us in this week.
Yes, sir. I put my big boy pants on for this one. But today we do have a special guest for the people. I know Harry and I are very excited about this one. We have UFC newcomer Natan Levy. Natan, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know it's
Our
it's
pleasure.
probably been a little crazy month for you since you
Yeah, very.
earned that contract earlier this month, but we'll get to that. I guess really just wanted to kind of start off and ask really about your background. I know you were born in Paris. You moved to Israel, I think, right around age 4. So just what was that like? What was life growing up there? And
Yeah, like you said, I've been, at home French and outside the house Israeli, and my whole life. Growing up in Israel, it's different from other places. You have Middle East. We have, of course, the bad things, but also good things. Going to the beach, hanging out, going to school, and also the other side, of course, of like. Your mom being scared, don't get on the bus because there's terrorist attacks sometimes and things like that.
yeah, no, I mean that's luckily I think for Harry and I both grew up in America. We've been pretty safe and sheltered our whole lives, but I mean, I can't really. I was in Israel for a month. Luckily, didn't have any sort of run-ins like that. It was really all fun and love there, but I'm sure it
Usually it's
was.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I know. Of course, you're gonna run into some crazy stuff every once in a while. But
of course.
what really got you started in MMA, especially in Israel, where I guess it's not too prevalent?
No, it's not. Really, Israel is more known for like judo practitioners. Uh, back in the 80s, some judo guys came in, Jewish people who did Aliyah and moved to Israel. We had some karate, some stuff like that. But so that's what we kind of got good at. And the MMA is so new, it's not something that anybody really brought to Israel. We only had a few pioneers that had to leave Israel and go chase that in the US. But for me, I was doing karate. I was doing judo when I was younger a little bit. And I always like martial arts. And the next step, to take it to the highest level is MMA and trying to get into the UFC. And I had this crazy dream of doing it. I left home, worked very hard for the past 7 years, on top of the years prior doing karate and training very hard to be the best at that. And then now we're here.
I mean, it's really is like we said, it's tough to especially branch out, especially something that's not extremely in the norm there. And you're now what I think it's the third Israeli UFC fighter, so it's really got to be an honor.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Third
you're
ever or only one right now?
third ever, only one right now. I love it. Do you have a nickname yet?
No, I'm good.
No nicknames.
Not a nickname guy?
If I have the chance to just pitch one to you, I mean, it might be a little obvious, but the Hebrew Hammer it just works.
Too much.
And it almost feels it's a
Absolutely.
little lazy at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
it feels lazy.
It'll come naturally.
Some others did it before me and better.
Fair. Very true. But so yeah, I was reading up. So I saw, Bellator had offered you a fight at some point. They've been a little bigger in Israel. I know, I think of Israeli MMA and I think of kind of guys like, Hyman and Aviv Ghazali right now. But so you chose to go more LFA. So I kind of wanted to ask you, do you think that LFA or what is it exactly about LFA that they've done to kind of distinguish themselves as that premier, kind of promotional prospect promotion right now?
So Bellator it's a great organization. It's got great athletes, but it's it's a competitor to the UFC, and of course far behind. And people who go there usually don't travel in between too much. So you're either in Bellator or you made it to the UFC. And for me, even though it seemed like a lot of people were in my ear, like you should take a fight in Bellator. That's your best shot. I don't believe that was my best shot, and I was right. I want to compete with the best train with the best. That's why I left Israel. And same thing, I wasn't gonna, make my standards lower just so I can get a shot. I didn't believe my career is dependent on like one opportunity. This is your shot. No, I'm good enough to have a lot of opportunities, and I worked hard enough to be ready when a big opportunity shows itself, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think it was proved in that Contender Series shot. So I guess going off the Contender Series, I mean, how hard was it for you to take that fight on 5 days' notice, especially fighting in a weight class 15 pounds for what you were normally used to fighting?
It was 2 days notice.
Oh,
I
it was
took
2
the
days
fight on
notice.
Sunday and fought on Tuesday.
Wow.
That was my mistake.
It wasn't very hard. Like, prep, really, you don't have time to prep. You just cut the weight, recover, and fight. So in that sense, it was pretty good because I'm always training and I'm always in shape. That's what I meant when I said, you got to be ready for the opportunity. Opportunities are great, but are you ready for the opportunity? If you don't stay ready, if you were ready a month ago, but then you slack off during COVID or something, and the opportunity shows itself and you're not ready, and everything you did is not worth it. So I'm always training 3 times a day. I'm always busting my ass, staying ready. I don't need to get ready.
Was there anything in those 2 days? Was there anything that you were honing in on specifically? I mean, you obviously came out there and you showed the grappling skill with that arm triangle squeeze, but anything you were really honing in on in those 2 days?
What was I? I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
No, I asked if there was anything in those 2 days that, like, while you were training those 2 days, was there anything you were really focusing on getting ready for that fight, or was it just regular training for you?
So again, I didn't train those 2 days, but I'm always developing my game and getting better overall. Of course, when you got an opponent, it's no longer about just getting better. It's about winning the fight. What can I do to win the fight? What can I put in my muscle memory to do? After he attacks like this, I need to counterattack that way because that's how he's open. So that's what you call like a game plan. I didn't really have much of a game plan for this one. It was so short notice. Really what I was, like you say, like I was counting on, like making it as a plan. And I was coming, under from a weight class down under, huge height advantage, 2 days notice. And for me, I'm never the favorite. I can always lose. I can always get my ass kicked. That's why I train so hard, because I don't want that to happen. And really this fight for me was just letting everything go, throwing everything I got at him, spinning shit, kicks, punches, grappling, everything. There was
that's what the people want to see. We're all suckers for some spinning shit.
Some opponents, you're like, oh, I'm not going to kick him in the body because if he catches my leg and takes me down, I'm going to be in trouble or stuff like that. But this fight was just do everything. And for me, really, the biggest thing in my mindset was just, coming in here, I don't know the opponent. I might win, I might lose. That's cool. But I'm not giving him an inch. If he knocks me out tonight, no problem. I'll go home happy, but I'm going to give him hell until that moment. And that moment never came. I just kept giving him hell.
It was an awesome fight to watch. Absolutely.
So do you think that, aside from training with, a gym full of killers at Syndicate there, like Jordan Levitt and Roxanne Modafferi and all these other UFC caliber fighters, do you think that there might be some advantage to Syndicate being in Vegas? And do you think that, you guys get that call and you're just ready to jump in there?
That's a huge thing. That's the first reason I moved to Vegas was, of course, the training, but also just being close to the UFC, being close to the Performance Institute, being close to where most of the fights happen, just be close to the center of it, the mecca of fighting. And then when opportunities present themselves, even especially during COVID, there's travel bans, they need local fighters. I was staying ready. I was training like crazier than even before COVID happened. When I had no gym, I would train at the park like a madman, just in case that opportunity came. And afterwards, like LFA started doing fights again, so I jumped to fight on LFA, got that win, stayed ready, got another short notice fight and took it.
And is there it looks like you're ready to go whenever they call your name. Is there anything in the works right now for you? Any plans coming up?
Right now, I understand beginning of 2021
Okay.
for a fight. But like I said, I'm staying ready. You never know who's going to catch COVID.
You really, you never know
Unfortunately.
these days.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that first fight for you? Do you think it's going to be at 155? Is that where
Yeah.
you're staying now?
I'm staying at 55.
Yeah, it's wild to see fight at 145. All of your professional fights jump up to catch weight, and just you looked like you were fighting at your natural weight. I mean, and
Yeah.
you look strong.
I
That
was-
squeeze, man.
I
That
was even a little
squeeze.
bit, yes, sir. I was even a little bit soft for this fight because I was getting ready for a fight at 45, so I was losing a lot of muscle, and I had just fought at 45, so I didn't really have I didn't gain much muscle. I gained some fat from getting back to eating, some ice cream, some stuff like that from the fight prior, and then I started cutting weight for the next fight, but I didn't have a ton of muscle on me like I can have. And now that I'm going to be more even training at the PI, the Performance Institute, get back to lifting weights, which I couldn't when I was fighting at 45 because I would just get too big. So now I can really see what my full potential is, how strong I can get with the resistance training, with the best trainers in the world. I'm excited.
Going to be a problem, I think.
So I guess I wanted to ask you one thing. It feels like right now the biggest story in MMA is probably that a lot of fighters, unfortunately, are getting cut. So I did kind of want to ask you just, what do you think of, first of all, certainly don't want to get you any trouble in here with your new boss, but what do you think of kind of the UFC choosing to kind of, I guess maybe cut ties with some older, more established talent in favor of guys coming in like yourself on Contender Series contracts who, might be a little more friendly to the promotion financially and, God knows what else.
Listen, it's true. I've been, I read the stuff online as well. And I saw some people say that, Dana prefers to pay pro fighters. But I don't think that's the whole picture because at the end of the day, look, if you put a newcomer against one of these veterans, even though they're older, usually the veterans are going to win, right? You got to kind of ease people's way into it. You can't put let's say, Habib, okay? Put him in his first UFC fight against the champion at 155. Would he win?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah, he might not get to 29-0.
Exactly. He wins more, gets better, has more time to train, more time, more experience in the cage. And then he becomes his final form, right? Habib.
he goes super
and then he
saiyan.
fights for the title. Exactly. And so it's the same thing. And if you put those young guys, they might lose to the new ones, to the older ones, but that's why you let them fight among themselves, weed out the weak, then have them step up until they get to that title shot. And sometimes, I think those young fighters, right now, okay, somebody who's got signed by Contenders as a middleweight, Yoel Romero probably beats his ass. True.
Right.
But give him a couple years.
I'd agree with that.
So maybe it is time. Maybe it is time to push out a little bit those veterans. Yoel especially, I like him, so I wanted to see him keep fighting. I think he's something
Same,
special.
man. I love Yoel, but I was saying to Ross the other day, I went back and looked at it. Guy's lost 4 straight fights, and it's like, holy shit! You don't even realize it.
You really don't. You just love watching him get in there.
Yeah,
except against
exactly. But his fights are getting. Not only is he losing, but his fights are getting a little bit worse. So I think Dana is very good at knowing when to let somebody go. You can tell some fighters lose. Some fighters, they win, only lose title fights, and then they cut them. You're like, why did he get cut? He only lost 2 title fights, but then they go to Bellator and start losing there. So you see that they know something we don't know sometimes.
Right. Well, there's only your shelf life. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, fighting is it's not basketball where you're going to go out and have a 25-year long career.
I do think fighting, it's so much based on experience and knowledge. That's something you accumulate over time. You can't be 20 and have the experience of somebody who's 35. So I do think fighters have a longer shelf life than a lot of other sports where athleticism is more important. I don't know anything about running, but I doubt experience really helps when running.
Right.
Oh, I've been running for 20 years. Okay, I've been running for 5 years. I'm 10 years younger. I'm going to smoke you. Right? But
Yeah,
fighting, it's not like
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah, no, fight IQ is definitely very, very real.
And it's the only way to learn a lot of these things in the fight game is by getting in there and having someone take your back and things that, yeah, you can train them, but once you're in there and the lights are on and it's the real deal, that's when you're really tested.
True. That's why I like doing also like jiu-jitsu tournaments, what you said. A lot of people are like, why would you compete and, like for free, stuff like that. But I think about it like if I'm competing against some guy who's only doing jiu-jitsu, he's very good at jiu-jitsu, very high level, and he takes my back in the fight, I know that I need to work on defending, getting my back taken. Or if somebody does choke you out in a tournament or something, or you tap, like happened to me only maybe 2 times in my life, but
that sounds like you remember which 2 times.
I remember.
You got him stowed away back there.
Yeah. I think I saw your face change when you said that.
Oh, yeah. But no, you love to hear
Vengeance
that, man.
Is coming.
Love it. But yeah, at the same time, we've always talked to a lot of different fighters, and one of the things that always comes up as a recurring theme at the end of the day is that you can only become as good as the people who you train with and you spar against and you roll with are going to push you to be. So if you're just training consistently with the same people and they know all your moves and you know all their moves and you kind of got each other figured out, then at a certain point you need an outside force to kind of shake things up a little bit.
True. That's why I think fighting is the ultimate training. Right?
Yeah.
I think fighting is the thing that makes you better. It's not like fighting is like the test, of everything you train, but fighting is also like learning.
Yeah, it's got to be, I don't know from experience, but I'd have to assume getting tapped out in sparring versus getting tapped out on a UFC main event card on ESPN, it's going to suck a little more to get tapped out in the actual fight. Yeah, just a little bit more. But I guess we're talking about submissions and finishes, and Dana did mention in his interview about you right after your win. He said he can't wait to see your stand-up in the UFC. I know all 3 of your professional stoppages have came by submission. How eager are you to get that first knockout?
I'm eager.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Is that something you're going to be looking for in that debut fight? Or I guess you're just going to...
Yeah, I try never to look for anything.
Right.
I try and see things as they are. And if you're looking one way, you're missing what's going on the other way. So I think a lot of times I throw some hard kicks or punches and people try and take me down. And then I either reverse it, like in this last fight, or maybe choke them out while they're trying to take me down, all kinds of things like that. I never, only had a couple of fights where I could really express myself standing up. So I'm looking forward to doing that as I get better also.
And how, just I guess kind of off topic here, but how exciting was it for you? I know we'll have the privilege to speak to him again tomorrow, but the Monkey King, how fun was that to watch that fight on Saturday?
So happy for my brother. He's an amazing person. Nobody deserves it more than he does. And it shows because you don't get what you don't deserve. Sometimes even in life, you work very hard and you deserve it, but you don't get it. And just him doing it in his style, it's really like a Monkey King style,
It really is.
It's perfect. Everybody who we've talked to.
Coach, bring him here.
Everyone's got the same impression of him.
Everything's calculated.
Yeah,
Everything's
everyone's like, you know what? He seems
calculated,
like a really
cool.
nice guy, kind of a goofball. I can get behind it.
Yeah. For me, it
He's just
doesn't
having
seem. I
fun
know
out
him. We
there.
train all the time.
Right.
Exactly. He's just like that. He's one of the most fluid fighters on the planet, I think. He's so creative, and he's just a good person, a good friend to have. Um, and yeah, we kick each other's butt all the time, and we love each other. And I'm really happy for him.
Nah, that's awesome, and I'm sure as soon as that debut shot comes around for you, he'll be there right in your corner, just like he was for Contender Series,
Yeah,
watching you get that victory. So it's got to be a good friend to have.
yeah, very
And the next wave of Syndicate MMA, taking the UFC by storm. Gotta love it.
true.
But
And when I joined Syndicate, everybody was saying like, there was like a couple UFC fighters, but they were saying, is it high level enough? Why don't you go train there? Why don't you go train there with that world champion? Things like this. And I just realized back then that, when I joined the gym, Jordan wasn't even an amateur yet. Some other guys were amateurs and they were winning a bunch of fights. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to be world champion tomorrow. I want to be an amateur that wins fights. I'm going to go be with those guys. Then I was an amateur. I was winning fights. My friends turned pro, started winning fights at the pro level. That's what I did behind them. And me and Jordan, he was a little bit ahead of me. And same now, UFC. So we've all grown together, built together, and there's like other generations that are now behind us that are amateurs at Syndicate, some that are pros. They're going to step up to the UFC. Those are going to step up to being pros. So I just think it's a really good gym to develop people and not just have the big names come in who, I worked with the world champion. How did that help you? Were you his heavy bag for 5 rounds? That's not
Right,
what we're looking
right.
at.
yeah. No, that's awesome though, man. Yeah, I mean, sounds like you guys are doing it, the right way over there. You guys are putting in the work, putting in the hours, and I mean, it definitely shows. I mean, look at undefeated in your last 4 fights out of the gym.
4 amateur and 6 pro. So
Oh, there you go.
10 fight win streak. Jordan's like 12 fight win streak with amateur. We got Gerard Blackledge. We got Sasha, who just got a bonus also in the UFC.
Yep.
Sasha Palatnikov.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Strickland. A bunch of guys. Guys where they're going to be in LFA soon. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and hopefully soon enough, you guys got a title holder in there, and then you'll start a lineage of those out of Syndicate.
Sounds good.
Gotta. And yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
speaking of,
I guess.
Sorry, Ross.
No, go ahead, Her.
You brought up Sean Strickland real quick. I mean, talk about you guys got a lot of stories in that Syndicate gym. I mean, it must have been incredible to watch him get to come and go back to work and get back to where he is now.
Yeah. He's a character. I love him. He's crazy.
That Marshman fight where he was just yelling at the end of the fight, "Come on, Jack! Let's swing! Let's go!" So that's what we need. That's what the people want. Give us some fun.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, though. I think Ross was saying, I think we've taken up enough of your time that you've been incredibly gracious to give us. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you, Natan. It means a lot, and we're happy to have an Israeli in the UFC representing. So good luck to
Absolutely.
you. We'll be waiting for that debut news, and we'll be pulling for you, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Bet you didn't think I would stick an ad in here, motherfuckers. Got you. This episode is brought to you by Moneyline Dice. Go to www.worldgamblingstandard.com and use promo code BASEMENT for 15% off the dice and their new MMA score notebook. I'll include a picture. Love you all. Have a good one.